everyone, welcome back to Allie's Golden Hour. Happy halfway to Halloween. We are on our way to the Spooky Swap Meet 2025. I'm so excited because this is a new Halloween event that I've never been to, and it is hosted at the Los Angeles Heritage Museum, which is a museum. It's mostly outdoors and it showcases really cool old architecture. There's Victorian homes, and I can't wait to just be amongst them. And there's going to be a bunch of different types of vendors. We're going to have clothing vendors, but the main point of this event is that there's collectibles, there's vintage Halloween, slightly used Halloween decor, spooky antiques. I'm hoping to see some oddities today. We're going to bring you along. How are you feeling?
I didn't even know this existed, so hooray.
I know. It was kind of a whim. You know, I've heard about it before, and so we just decided, you know what, let's do it. So we'll see you inside. So this first vendor is called Fabulous Frights, and I can tell you that it definitely was a fabulous time going through this booth, and I so enjoyed all of the different art and photos that this vendor had. It looked like this vendor took a lot of time to curate a whole collection of beautiful frames and included the most spooky but also fun artwork in these. Some of them were vintage and some of them had more of a modern horror twist to them. In my mind, there is nothing quite as spooky as a giant winged insect like this framed cicada. This guy was going for $25. I absolutely loved him, although I don't quite know about adding framed bugs into my space quite yet. I definitely have been wanting to introduce more oddities and curiosities into my spooky decor, but I'm still holding out for the perfect insect, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. However, these magnets were super cute, and for $10, I could definitely see adding one or two of those to my collection. And then also, I did spend some time going through this fabulous collection of old, vintage, and probably antique photos. I definitely snagged a few of those, so stay tuned till the end to see my haul video. Now I'm on to, this is the Velveteen Apparitions booth, and she had a couple of booths with $10 items, so I definitely picked through here just to see what she had. She had some beautiful blow molds, and of course, no spooky event would be complete without the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. I absolutely love looking at these guys. I think they're so cute, and their faces always draw me in. I did not end up taking one home this sale. However, a few did speak to me, and I could have easily taken one of these home. So this purple one was super fun. Look at these antique photos. I just thought they were so cool. Not to mention those antique shoes right there. And then this was a vintage, kind of like a magic trick. I would have loved to take a look inside of that box to see what was in there. But look at all the little kitties. And I did highly consider picking up this bottle with the black cat on it. Um, I did talk myself out of it just because I wanted to have enough in my budget to go shop at some of the other booths. But I do end up picking something up from her booth as well. And I can't wait to see her again at the next event because I always just have a great time looking through her stuff. This was another really cool booth with a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns. This one was one of my favorites right there. And my husband was showing me this spooky candle, but unfortunately it wouldn't stand up on its own. And so I did leave it there, but I did have to look at this really cute little guy. I probably should have picked him up. I thought he was really, really cute. And then, of course, we just walked down the road a little bit to take a look at some of the houses that they had on display and just look at this effect. How cute is this Beanie Baby? He took me right back to the 90s when people thought that Beanie Babies would pay for their retirement. I just thought he was so cute, and I loved all the little pumpkins on his body. He was hard to pass, but I did end up leaving him behind for somebody else. Take a look at this darling Anna Lee, a little mummy mouse with the sweetest little jack-o'-lantern bag, all ready for a night out of trick-or-treating. Let me know in the comments below if you see anything you would have taken home from the spooky swap meet. I know there was a ton that I passed on, and looking back through these videos, I definitely see more than when I was even there. And I'm like, oh man, I should have picked that guy up. So if you see something like that, let me know down below. Where are all of my Joanna Parker fans at? Take a look at this, sweetie. This is the pumpkin cupcake Joanna Parker soap dispenser. Super cute. I didn't see a current price on him, but let me know if that is something that you have in your current collection if you're a Joanna Parker fan. I if the booth vendor was there, I probably would have inquired about the price, but I couldn't find anybody at this booth and it was so strange. Oh boy, I think we all know the sound this one makes, and it is definitely reminiscent of my childhood Halloweens. Hello, it is the next day after the spooky swap meet. We had so much fun. I absolutely love doing spooky events, especially because fall and Halloween time are my absolute favorite. And so when it's halfway to Halloween, we like to try and do some kind of spooky event just to get us in the mood and the spirit of the season, even though it is still spring. Um, it just makes me so happy. And I think some of the coolest parts about going to spooky events as an adult is they pass out candy and they don't ask you how old you are when you go to get the candy. They just give it to you as an adult, which is fantastic. We always have so much fun checking out the scare actors, and they had a couple of haunted houses set up, so we definitely walked through those. And of course, we did some shopping. So today I have the little haul for you. I'm so excited to show you what we found. So they had some newer items, they had some vintage items, they had clothing, spooky treats. There was so much to look at, and it was just such a great time. But one of the first items that we found is actually this really cute bandana that we got for Boogie. Boogie is always usually on our minds when we're out at different events that he can't go to. So we do usually try and pick him up something when we go out and about. And it's usually some kind of collar or bandana. And so this is just a spooky bandana, and it has some of the like it has Michael Myers on. Actually, this might just be a Michael Myers, which I think is appropriate because Michael Myers is the boogeyman, right? So let me take it off of you, Boog, so I can get a good. But we also like to shop small and support local businesses. So again, that's why we also like to go to these events and shop secondhand. But yeah, I think that bandana looks really sweet on him, and Boogie doesn't mind accessorizing, so we do every now and then. All right, Boog, I'll let you down. Thanks for modeling that, buddy. All right, let's get into some of the other items, shall we? Okay, at one of the booths, I looked through a lot of the pictures that they had. They had a lot of, let me see if this is the right one. No. But look how fun they gave out little goodie bags with candies and like business cards and things inside, but it's just so much fun. Like, look at this. Doesn't that just get you in the mood for Halloween? So I did end up picking up two vintage, actually these might be antique. There's no dates on these, but I really did like this one. It's spooky, but it's not scary. You know what I mean? Like, it's still just children. It's a little bit more wholesome. But I thought these would look really nice displayed during Halloween in a flower frog or propped up in my bookshelf back here or on my mantle. So I'm really looking forward to using this. This one has two little girls. And then I also found this really sweet little boy. So I really liked the color of them, and I just think they're going to be really nicely displayed in Halloween time. So I've kind of been on the lookout for some more vintage or antique portraits like that. I would love to get a tintype, but those are pretty expensive. Okay, at one of the other booths, actually, I spotted this guy at first and I was like, oh no, he's going to be too much. Let's not, I didn't even want to ask the lady. And then my husband was like, oh, did you see that guy? I think he's really nice. So I was like, yeah, I actually had my eye on him. So I didn't realize that this is a Bethany Lowe Designs at the time. But it is, and it's kind of made out of felt. I really liked his little head. He is a ghosty and he says boo. I loved his little pumpkin guy and his sweet little bow tie. And I'm always drawn to pumpkins as well as ghosts for spooky season. So he will probably go with my ghost collection this year. And I'm pretty happy to have found this out in the wild, as they say, and by secondhand. So super cool find. I love finding Bethany Lowe like that. Okay. I'm going to pick up the next one that's in a paper bag. So we'll see. Hopefully it's not too loud. So at these events, there's usually lots of different types of vendors and a lot of different types of crafters as well that make, it's just like any kind of trade show. But there was this one lady who makes ornaments, and she had all different kinds of ornaments. And so we picked up this little Dracula, Vladimir. He's just really cute. I loved his little toothpick fangs. And my husband really thought he was darling as well. And I've been working my way through reading Dracula. And I get off on different tangents. I read like a million books at one time. So I've kind of fallen off reading Dracula lately, but I need to get back on it because it's only supposed to take me a year to read, and I'm on year 2 now. So, but anyway, this is by abbybell.etsy.com. So if you're interested in finding yourself one of these sweet ornaments, you can find her there. It looks like this. Abby Bell, and I bought this little guy for $10. I just think he's really, really cute. Okay. Next, because it's kind of like it's a spooky swap meet, there's a lot of vendors that have all different types of things. There's things there that people have probably purchased from Goodwill or estate sales. There's very highly curated antiques. There's clothing. And so at one of the vendors, she had these little spooky hair clips. And I've been wanting to get some of these. And I think these look like they're from Target, but they were only a few dollars. And so we decided to get them. I especially love the little ghosty here, the pumpkin, and the cat. I think they're just really darling. So I'm excited to wear these in my hair during spooky season. And I think the best part too about spooky events, even when it's not Halloween time, you get to dress up, and that's one of my favorite things to do during Halloween, not only in costumes, but also in spooky shirts. And I have a nice little collection of spooky shirts going. And these events are some of my favorite places to stock up on new spooky shirts. So I'll show you the 2 that I ended up picking up, and then I'll show you the one my husband got. There was a really great deal on these shirts. This is one of our favorite shirt designers called Lucky Hellcat. They do an amazing job, hand design all of their spooky shirts. And these guys were just really sweet. I love, again, a good jack-o'-lantern. I love their like clown hats, their Victorian clown hats. And it's just really fun to me. So we got a great deal on these. I can't remember how much everything was. But they do have women's cut, and then they also have men's cut shirts. These are the 2 women's cut. And I get a size, this is an extra large. Let me see if I got the other one in an extra large. The women's runs a little bit snug, and then they shrink a little bit. So I always err for a little bit larger. But I also loved this shirt with the cat on the top. He says boo. And then we have this lovely jack-o'-lantern on the bottom with the candles in his eyes. I just absolutely love these. And let me tell you, my husband wore one of their shirts to this event, and he got complimented 4 times by people at the event. So they're just really cool, and they're also glow in the dark. So if you're in a black light area, they glow. Okay, this is the one my husband got. And again, this is one of my favorites. I actually have this one in my size, and my husband was jealous of mine, so he got one of his own. And we're not afraid to match in this family. We quite often do match, so I'm sure there'll be a time this spooky season or at a spooky event where we will wear the same shirt. So I think it's just really fun and cute. But yes, we like to stock up on our spooky attire at these events as well. Another one of my favorite merchants to go to at these spooky events is, her name is the Velveteen Apparition. She is a very highly curated collection of vintage and antique Halloween items. And she is, here's her business card if you're interested in looking her up. She is on Instagram. I do follow her there. And she's at Velveteen Apparition. I did pick up this little baby doll from her just to add to my spooky stash. So yeah, I could honestly spend all day in her booth. And the thing is, her booth gets super, super busy and it's a little bit overwhelming. So I kind of waited till the end of the night to go back and just look at everything again, because I absolutely love everything that she has. Her stuff is priced a little bit pricier than like your run-of-the-mill items because it is so highly curated. And then my husband wanted to pick up this mug. It definitely needs washed. It was $3. What's inside? It was $3. It says poison, so I'm sure he'll use this at work to take his coffee in, which I think is fun during spooky season. And I think that's all. Oh no, we got this really large key. I really think it's cool. And this was $8. We purchased this from, there was a haunted house there. It was like a sane asylum kind of theme. And they had a lot of like medical oddities for sale. And they also had a bunch of these different keys. So we did purchase one of these. And I think it's really cool. These are just cool to lay on top of books and things during spooky season. So really happy and excited with our little haul here. And I'm sure we will run into a few more of these spooky events before spooky season arrives. Usually spooky season starts in the summertime. So I'm really looking forward to all the different events. And I'm sure you'll see a little bit more as we get closer to Halloween. But thank you so much for watching. I had such a fun time at Spooky Swap Meet and highly recommend it for anybody who's interested in going. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!